Hello friends, do you think it is better to fail at something worthwhile than to succeed at something meaningless? Thought-provoking, isn't it? Think about it, because for the next few minutes, you are going to access a truckload of information. And information is like water. It's difficult to hold, but it's equally difficult to keep it from leaking away. My name is Bruhat Butch, and I'm a design thinking practitioner. The topic for today is going to be intrapreneurship. Intrapreneurship is not a science or an art. It is a mindset. Now, why do I say that intrapreneurship is a mindset? Why I say that is an intrapreneur is somebody who thinks like an entrepreneur within the organization. The organization is taking a risk, but the experiment is yours, the success is yours, the failure is yours. Now, any intrapreneur goes through something called as the emotional intersection. Now, this emotional intersection is called as the SIP. Yeah, you heard that right. It is called the SIP. It is very similar to the systematic investment plan that you do to actually accumulate wealth by the time you retire. The SIP in entrepreneurship is self-awareness, interpretation, and perception. Now, an intrapreneur is absolutely incomplete without all the three circles intersecting with each other. Think about it. If you are self-aware and you are able to manage perceptions, what you're really doing is that you are playing it safe because you're not able to interpret the problem statement and give a solution. Think of it from the other point of view. You are able to manage perceptions and you are able to interpret the problem statement, but you're not aware of your own potential. When you are not aware of your own potential, all you are doing is taking limited risk, which an intrapreneur does not do. Look at it from the third angle. If you are self-aware and you are able to interpret the problem statement, but you're not able to manage perceptions, do you really think you will succeed? When all these three come in tandem, what you are doing is over a period of time, you are investing some amount of the S, that is the self-awareness, of the I, that is the interpretation, and the P, that is the perception, over a period of time in order to make your experiment a success. Now, when it succeeds, what happens is you get that recognition and you get the satisfaction out of actually completing or accomplishing that particular objective of yours. Now, in order to achieve this SIP and in order to achieve success in the future, you need to follow something called as the business fist. Now, what is a business fist and why is it really required? The business fist is very, very simple. The F stands for being future ready. The I stands for innovation, or in our language, disruptive innovation. S stands for synergizing with the right kind of people. And T is transforming. Now, when you actually keep this fist together, what you are doing is you are actually channelizing everyone's energy into something that you want to achieve for the organization. Now, let me give you a very simple example. I'm reminded of an organization stint that I did around 7 to 8 years back. I joined as an executive HR in that particular organization, and the first meeting that I had with my HR head was about my KRA setting. Now, when we were doing our KRA setting, the first thing that came up was, what do you think that you want to do in this organization? And I said, I have been hired as an executive HR, so I will play a corporate role. And when I'm playing a corporate role, I will focus more on the recruitment side. I'll take care of the HR operations and probably venture a little bit into training and development. My HR had asked me, anything over and above that? And I said, no, sir, I don't think anything that comes to my mind as of now. He said, there is one more element in your KRA that you need to really focus on, and that is sales. I was taken aback. I said, sir, I haven't joined this organization to do sales. If I wanted to do sales, I would have joined a sales organization. Why would I have joined your organization? To which he responded saying that think like an entrepreneur. If this was your organization, would you say the same thing? At that moment, I thought this is just simple, pure gyan, which any HR head would give to any newcomer at that point in time. But I let it go through and I said, okay, sir, if you say, I will visit the store the next day. He said, fine, I will set your meeting up with the store manager. He will take you through the motions. Now, the same thing kept ringing in my head over and over, saying that think like an entrepreneur. I thought, if this was my organization, what would I have done? Now, think about the SIP here. I had interpreted the problem statement. The problem statement was that I was not supposed to do only the work that an HR executive is supposed to do, but also that of a salesperson. Now, if I had to really influence the senior management here, I had to manage those perceptions. But I wasn't self-aware. I really didn't know whether I had the potential to make a sale that any sales executive is doing at that point in time. However, I took it with the flow and I went to the store the next day. The first thing the store manager said is, welcome young man, welcome to the first day at the store. This is the agenda, you have to follow 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I said, can I not just be an observer here? Because I know nothing about sales. I have just graduated from my MBA college, and I think this is not really the right time for me to go ahead and do a sale. He said, think like an entrepreneur. What would you do if this was your store? And it struck to me again. My HR had said the same thing yesterday. The store manager is saying the same thing today. I responded, I don't think I have the potential to make a sale. He said, why not explore? Let's start with a briefing. Half an hour before the store opened, he gave a briefing to all his colleagues. I was there as a part of the briefing. And while the briefing was going on, what I realized that it's not really any rocket science to sell a product. All you needed to do was 2, 3 things. One is explain the features of the product, explain to the customer why they should buy from our store. And the third and the most important thing is, why should you buy from me, or why should you believe me as a person? Now here comes the self-awareness part. During my MBA days, we had a subject called as XCOM, wherein we were expected to come on the floor and talk something extempore. We never thought we could do that, but we were able to do that. I used the same analogy at the store, saying, let me give it a shot. What is the worst that can happen? We may lose a customer or two. That is the time when a customer came in, and as soon as I approached the customer first said that, why don't you explain to me the features of this product? And I said, okay, sir, let me guide you to that particular place. I took him to the gondola. I explained to him the features of the product. And the next statement he said was, मैं आपसे क्यों लूं, उनसे क्यों नहीं लूं जहां पर मुझे 15% डिस्काउंट मिल रहा है. And I didn't have an answer to that question. But instinctively I said, sir, what is more important to you? Is 15% discount more important to you? Or is this more important, that there is somebody standing behind your back looking at your problems every now and then and solving them at the time that you want? The customer couldn't believe it. A young boy standing in front of him was talking like a pro salesperson. Of course, he said, I will want somebody who I can trust. And if you can tell me that how are you going to help me through the entire procedure, I will buy it from you. I then explained the entire process, right from the time the sale is made to how our customer service department responds when a query comes to them, and how the entire procedure happens. You will not believe it. The customer bought the product in the next 2 minutes. Now think about it again. Go back to the SIP here. What was the interpretation? The interpretation over here was that the customer wanted somebody who he could trust. What is the perception that I created in the mind of the customer at that point in time? That we are the ones you can trust, and do not go simply by the price tag. And what happened was, the most important thing at that point in time was the self-awareness and the self-belief that even I could make a sale. By the end of the day, you will not believe it, an HR executive actually sold stuff worth 1,58,000 in the day. I was very, very proud of myself. The next day when I went to the office and I met my HR head, I was absolutely ecstatic. And what my HR head said was, "How did you manage to crack this sale?" The only thing I said is, "Sir, SIP." And he said, "What is SIP?" And I said, "Sir, now I know what we call this kind of a person. This kind of a person is called as an intrapreneur. I am thinking like an entrepreneur within the organization. Now I'm more self-aware. Now I can actually interpret the problem statements, and now I'm able to manage the perception of the customer. What I can do with the external customer is something that I will be able to do with the internal customer as well." And I think that is the major role of an HR business partner in this organization. What followed next was a series of applauses right from behind. All the heads of the departments were standing and applauding the kind of effort that I had actually put in. Now, what is something that is unique that I did at that point in time? Was it the sale? Was it the 1,58,000? Was it me going to the store? No. All that I did was I was able to manage the perceptions of the heads, saying that I'm not here only to sit at the desk and actually warm the seats here. I'm here to make a difference. I'm here to add value. And that's exactly what an intrapreneur thinks like. Let me give you another example. I was heading the learning department in one of my previous organizations, and this problem statement came to me. The problem statement said that we are losing a lot of people. We aren't able to manage our attrition rates. They are sky high. They are way beyond what we think is the threshold or the benchmark. And when we looked at the data said that the problem is employee engagement. I said, okay, let us gather some data about the employee engagement surveys that we've done in the past. We gathered the data, and you will not believe it. The employee engagement score was more than 87% year on year for the last 5 years. We were all taken aback. We said that you are saying that employee engagement is a problem, but is employee engagement really a problem? One of the department heads said, I think it's more to do with the salary. They're getting more salary outside. So we went through the entire exit analysis. When we went through the exit analysis, we came to know that salary was not even 1% of the problem statement. So what is really the problem over here? Is employee engagement really the problem? The first thing we did is we actually reiterated the problem statement and said, how do we transition from employee engagement to employee experience? Now you must be saying, what is new over here? The only thing that is new is the mindset. Now when you think about employee engagement, what you are thinking about is how engaged the employees are, how much they are really doing for the organization on a daily basis. But have you really thought of what they go through day in, day out with the kind of culture that is there in the organization? People say employees leave their bosses. I say no. People leave cultures. People leave the kind of atmosphere that is there in the organization. The bosses are also following the SIP over here. What they are saying is we are self-aware of our potential. We have this much potential. Yes, if we are asked to develop ourselves, we will develop ourselves. However, they interpret this as saying we are in this comfort zone right now. What is it that we can do to maintain this comfort zone? We can manage perceptions. If we can manage the perception of the organization and say that we are doing what is required by the organization and grow at a steady rate, we've done our jobs. And that, my dear friends, is exactly why organizations are not growing today. The mindset is not of an intrapreneur over here. When you are talking about the SIP is not supposed to be taken in the negative sense. The SIP says that when you are self-aware of your potential, unlock the potential that you may not be aware of at this point in time. Use your development journeys to actually extract or unleash that particular potential from your side. Interpret the problem statement and give solutions to that problem statement. Manage perceptions in a way that people start looking at you as the future of the organization. Because when they look at you as the future of the organization, they are actually handing over the organization to you and they are saying, my dear friend, you are the entrepreneur, you are the owner of this organization. And if you run this business the way you want to run it, and if you take this organization to the next level, all you would have done is you would have succeeded in life. When we think about these stories, you think about the first quote that I actually said at the start of this video. Is it better to fail at something worthwhile than to succeed at something which is completely meaningless? Even if you fail in this pursuit of excellence, you would have opened so many new doors, so many new ideas that could actually take the organization to the next level. And those ideas can actually be used for the benefit of the organization, not immediately, but definitely. I'd like to end this segment with a small story here. This story is about an individual who wanted to experiment something with life. So what he did is he took an eagle's egg and he put it in front of the chicken. The eaglet came out and the first thing the eagle saw was the chicken. The eaglet thought that chicken is my mother and it lived its life like a chicken for 25 years. At the stroke of 25, the eaglet saw eaglets like itself soaring high in the sky. So it ran to its mother and said, Mom, can I also fly? Eaglets like myself are actually flying. Can I also fly? And the chicken said, no. You are a chicken. You are supposed to be a chicken. And believe it or not, my friends, the eaglet remained a chicken for the rest of its life. You are supposed to be eaglets and you are supposed to fly high in the sky. Now, what is stopping you is your mindset. Your mind can either be a prison or a palace. And it is for you to decide whether you want to keep it as a prison or a palace. This is Bruhat Buch signing off. And let me tell you, my dear friends, you cannot solve today's problems with yesterday's thinking. All the best, become an intrapreneur, change your mindset, and be successful.